Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Patyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Har Har Namah Parvati Pataye. Har Har Mahadeva. Good evening. So today is Pradosham. A little bit of extra chanting. In Yajurveda, the main one of the main, the central portion is Sri Rudram. And in Sri Rudram, the center is Namah Shivaya. And in that, the central, like a gem, in the center is Shiva. Yeah. So, the Shiva is a Vedic Shabda that connects to the Lord and invokes the divine in a very auspicious way. So, if you want to just use a mantra for focus and be connected with the divine at anywhere, any place, anywhere, anytime, and to elevate yourself from any kind of negativity around you or inside you, you can just repeat Shiva, 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 Shiva. Anybody can say, there are no rules for this. Just to repeat, in what we call as Upamshu. Upamshu is a way of chanting where it is like a whisper, where another person, you are moving your mouth and lips and tongue, but the next person next to you cannot hear. It's like a whisper. Maybe when they put the ear near your mouth, they can hear a little bit. So very mild whisper, or just not even the sound, just movement of the mouth. That is called upamshu. You can start like that and make it subtler and subtler, and start focusing on the gap between the two words and convert it into a meditation. One approach in which you can apply this is you feel your feet touching on the ground, standing or sitting, the body and the connection of the body with the ground, the gravity, right? And that sense of self, when you feel, when you are focused on the lower part of the body and your connection with the ground, that sense of self that you feel. From there, you start chanting Shiva, 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 like that. And gradually allow it to build up and fill you from down to top. From bottom to top, you should start feeling filled with the vibration of this word Shiva. Take your time, and if you are able to sit in a straight posture, and you can do that, or you can stand and do. You are filled with the Shivanama, with the vibration of Shivanama, Shiva, 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 Shiva. And after it crosses the navel, you will start internalizing more, and it will go in more into the mind. And the more it touches the chest, it will start going at the thought level. Go up to the head, the eyebrow center, and top of the head. Like that, you have to take your attention upwards along with the mantra. Along with the mantra, your consciousness, the sense of I, the self, the feeling of being centered, right? So that shifts from bottom towards up. Chest, throat, eyes, face, eyes, eyebrows, center, and gradually upward, and feels the head, top of the head, above the head. And then you visualize that Lord Shiva is sitting above your head, and mentally offer yourself participation. Only with this word Shiva, nothing else. If you don't understand Lord Shiva as a personality, if you are not connected, just the idea of the divine supreme, divine Ishvara, Saguna Brahman, God, whatever is the highest you can think of, the highest being you can think of, that. When you feel a connection, you can offer all your concerns, worries, anxieties, your ambitions, plans, your success, your failure, the good, the bad, the pleasant, the unpleasant, everything can be offered there with the word Shiva. And it purifies everything, like how everything falls into the fire and becomes an ash, the pure ash that the Shaivites wear in the forehead, vibhuti. Everything burns and becomes pure, just like ash. All the dualities cease to be in Shiva alone. There. Shivame Purulena Kanum Kachi. Vallalar used to say. The Shivam, the Supreme alone, is that only true thing that exists. That vision. All that will come. But this, all the background pushes and pulls that throw you here and there in life, what we call as Dvandva. Dvandva means likes, dislikes, pain, pleasure, happy, sorrow, all the duality, Dvandva. Dvandvaditam Trihunaragitam. Sadgurum Tam Namami, it comes in that shloka, right? Dvandvatitam Triguna-rahitam, Sattva, just tamas, not affected by that. So that Dvandvatita sthiti you can experience with this meditation. Try it in your free time. So being Pradosham, I thought I will share this beautiful method of connecting with the divine through the word Shiva, and with this method meditation. You can listen to this again a few times and internalize the idea. Don't use it like a guided meditation. Internalize the idea, understand the concept, and then do it alone without any audio. There is this huge trend now of meditating with all kinds of audio aids. I will not say it's bad, but one has to evolve and grow out of that, and must be able to meditate without any external aids, constant, sensation. So what happens is it gives you a kind of a laya. It does not awaken viveka. In laya is like a sleep, absorption. It's not bad, but it does not help us to grow much. Laya is very relaxing. Any kind of absorption is relaxing. Music gives you laya. So laya is not the goal. Laya is a tool, definitely, but it has its limits, and it has its own sphere of validity, beyond which it would not be a very healthy thing to be dependent on laya. So using external aids of music and all that, and guided meditation, then what happens is that Atma, that sankalpa of your buddhi to arrive at meditativeness, that doesn't happen. But at some point you will have to drop all the props and work from what understanding you have internalized about this process of meditation, about the mantra, about the meaning and all that. So listen, understand, and then sit and experiment with this technique. Apply it and see. Give yourself at least in 20 minutes time, barest minimum, and you can go up to 45 minutes. Beyond that, it might be tough for normal people. So if you are advanced meditator, I don't have to tell you, you know what to do. So for normal people, do not cross more than 40 minutes. Half an hour, 40 minutes is enough. You can try that immediately after waking up in the morning. You can try this, right? Put once you come out of the bed, step out of the bed, your feet is down. You can do this and fill up from bottom to top. Be filled with the vibration of the Lord, the presence of the divine, and then offer all that comes in your head. Offer the entire day that is going to be everything, all your ambitions, everything to the Lord at the top of the head. Feel the surrender. Feel that everything is taken care, everything is in its place according to the divine will. Then you can start your day. The same applies to the night before sleeping, or when you come back from work and before you tune into your domestic atmosphere, you can do the same meditation and offer all that you did. The entire day from the past can be offered. The omissions and commissions, what you did that you are not supposed to do, what you did not do that you are supposed to do, which you did not do, all that, the things that you're proud of, the things that you're not so proud of, things that you're happy about, the things that you're not so happy about. All that can be offered, all the memories, the impressions, your reactions to it, your regrets, your prayers, everything can be offered after you reach the top of the head and when you connect with the presence there. And during this process, you can maintain a conscious breathing. It will be easier until you cross that threshold above the chest, and you cross above the chest through the throat and up to the eyebrow center. Until you cross through the throat, until you cross through the chest and the throat zone, you can maintain a conscious deep breathing. You can inhale for 4 Shivanamas and exhale for 8 Shivanamas, 6 or 8 Shivanamas. No? Inhale, Shiva, 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 inhale, Shiva, 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 exhale. Like that. You don't have to do it in the same speed that I said. You can do it slower also. Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. You get that right speed according to your tuning, according to your state of mind, the level of concentration, and all that. So you can do like that. You can inhale. If you are chanting fast, maybe you can breathe in for 8. Don't worry about this 8, 10, whatever number is fine. 1 is to 2, basically. And the exhalation must be complete. At the end of exhalation, you feel the contraction in the abdomen. And toward the end of inhalation, you feel an expansion in the chest. The inhalation expansion should begin like a wave of expansion from your navel up through the chest, up a little bit touching the upper chest. You must feel the expansion a little bit up to the middle and a little bit above the middle of the chest. Then you are like inhaling a little bit more than what the body would inhale naturally without any effort. How much the body inhales, you inhale a little bit more to feel the expansion in the upper regions of the chest. And then you let go gradually with control. The entire exhalation must be under your control. And you exhale completely until the contraction of exhalation is felt in the navel. Then you let go, allow the breath to come in and continue the inhalation, the expansion until it reaches the chest, upper chest. So during this process, the chanting can go on in the mind from at the body level. You vibrate the mantra. As you breathe and as you vibrate the mantra from down to top, give you your time, in each area. If you are in the feet, keep on chanting, you will feel saturated, and then your attention will expand a little above to the knees, then to the hips, then a little bit in the belly area, to the chest area, upper chest area, shoulders and hands, throat area, mouth, upper palate, above the upper palate, the back of the head, upper palate, eyebrows center, inside the head, it percolates, and then the top of the head above that. Right? So just do it in your own rhythm. There is no specific thing. Only bottom to top is the general guidance. And wherever your mind is, the mantra is vibrated or thought of. The sense, the idea of the mantra is expressed there, and slowly it fills up your system from bottom to top. That is the idea, accompanied with conscious breathing. Once the attention crosses your throat or comes to the head, you don't have to worry about sustaining that deep breath. You can stop that and focus only on the mantra at the mind, maintaining a straight posture. If you can maintain a straight posture, body, neck, and head straight, the result will be fantastic. Right? So practice that immediately after waking up and after coming back from outside, before you settle down for the night, before your dinner maybe, because nowadays people are having late dinner, and then you need to give it at least an hour and a half or so after dinner to do this. Otherwise your digestion will be a problem. You can do, if you have time, an hour and a half after dinner, you can do that before sleep. Otherwise you can do it before dinner, and again do a little bit, 5 or 10 minutes you can do before sleep. Try this 15-20 minutes early morning, 15-20 minutes before dinner, and 5 or 10 minutes before sleep. Then go into sleep with a sense of complete surrender to the divine. Use the word Shiva. Right? So please practice, let me know, and if you have any doubts you can post your questions and I will answer in the next class. Right. So I just wanted to share this. And one more point regarding this use of mantras, methods of worship, etc. We know that in our Sanatana Dharma there are so many representations of the divine. We have Ganesha, Shiva, Vishnu, Goddess Devi, Surya. The 6 main we have. And Subramanya. And in each one of them we have so many forms. Ganapati, there are 32 types of Ganapati. Lord Shiva, there are so many forms of Lord Shiva. Shiva on the bull, Shiva all one, Shiva with Parvati, the entire Shiva's family. Shiva with 5 heads, Shiva with 1 head, standing Shiva, sitting Shiva, and with a different set of weapons, and Dakshinamurti. Then Subramanya, we have Valli Devasena Sameta Subramanya. We have alone Subramanya, Jnanaskandan, Somaskandan, and all that, and we have him on Dandayudapani in Palani. We have so many representations, each with unique energy, and the way it affects the mind, and the way it affects our the 3 qualities. So Saguna Brahman means the divine conceptualized in association with qualities. The qualities, according to the goal of meditation, the qualities change. Right? So broadly, the Ugraha and the Saumya we have. We have Saumya and Ugraha. That is a broad classification. We have Lalitambika Saumya. We have Mahalakshmi Saumya. We have Kali Bagalamukhi Ugraha. So then Ganapati also, we have Saumya Ganapati, we have Ugraha Ganapati. And we have Lord Shiva, then we have Bhairava, Kala Bhairava, Ugraha Murti. Right. So we have this in every form. We have even Dhairya Lakshmi, Veera Lakshmi, all that. Manifestations of Mahalakshmi in Ugraha Rupa is there. Generally, even the soft deities like Mahalakshmi also, we have Ugraha or the fierce forms. Chinnamasta, very fierce form. Right? So what you have to do is, uh, to understand that we are not under any compulsion to worship any deity. First, you have to understand. We have to be very clear. And when we are approaching adoration of the divine through the various divine forms, we have to see from what place we are coming inside us, from what attitude we are approaching. For what purpose are we approaching? We are doing it for the purpose of manipulating situations, right? Like this prayaschitta industry, right? There is some Rahu transit, run to Trinakeshwar. There is some Shani transit, run to, there is one temple, what is that? Trinallar. There are these temples now, and then going to some Pratyangara, Kali, and Sharabeshwara on Sunday during Rahu Kala. Very famous. During my college times, that was very famous. So, and then there is this Bhairava Puja, getting famous. And all these, what I joke as performance divinity, like Astra Prayogam, like performance divinities. Everybody is running for performance divinity to solve this problem, to solve that problem. Right? So that is not a healthy approach. It is called Kamya Karma. When we see Sadhana Panchakam, one of the first thing he says is, after surrendering, he says, Kamye Matistyajata. Give up your Matityajata means give up your attitude to influence things using divine forces. Trying to solve problems, everyday problems, using prayers and invocations. Do not approach the divine for getting things done. That is called Kamya Karma. Kamya Matistejidam, giving up that attitude of approaching the divine and the divine energies for getting stuff done. That attitude, give up. That is the first instruction in one of the, in Sadhana Panchakam, he says, Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam, Tadduditam Karmasvanushthiyatam. Study the Veda daily, chant the Vedic mantras daily, and practice the karmas according to the rules, properly practice the various rituals enjoined in the Vedas, by the Vedas. You can say that living a religious life. Tadan karmasvanushthiyatam. Tene ishasya vidiyata. Offer all of that to Ishvara. Doing all your religious activities and prayers and meditations and yoga practice. All of that, do it as an act of offering to the divine. It's like a puja. Like you offer a flower. It's not in like they do in fire ritual. Ganapatiye Swaha, Ganapatiye Idam Namama. Here it's for you. It is not mine. Right? So you have an attitude of offering. Yajna, attitude of yajna. You're doing it, all the virtuous actions and the sadhanas, you're doing it as an offering to the divine. Tena ishasya vidhiyatam apachitihi. Without attachment to the result of whatever result comes, that result is also considered as belonging to Ishvara. You don't take credit for it. You are not hankering after it. You are doing it because it is a virtuous thing to do. It is a purifying action to do. So you are doing it as a tool for taking you towards more peace and more wholesomeness and happiness and harmony. So that is why we are doing it, right? Not to influence any external situations and events. So tena ishasya vidiyatam apachitihi kamye matistejyatam. So what is not compulsory karma? There are a lot of things, Veda is like a mother. So Sanatana Dharma, our tradition is like a mother. Mother is very compassionate. According to the nature of the child, the mother will provide. I saw in one old movie, the son has a tendency to drink alcohol, right? He wants to drink alcohol every day or whatever. And he does not listen. So the mother buys the alcohol and gives him and says, see, this is a good one. Have this and eat some food and don't go and drink outside, drink in home. She tries to regulate his addiction and with love and understanding and empathy and sees how and finds ways to get him out of it, get him some responsible context where he feels responsible and things like that. So it is that compassionate. So the Veda will, the Veda is so compassionate. It also tells you what is called abhichara prayoga. Abhichara prayoga means the rituals for destroying others, destroying enemies and all that. It is required, and in some very rare context, and it is to be done only by the king. And even if the king does that, the king will go to hell to reap the effects of the sinful karma of doing what is called as a destructive ritual, abhichara prayoga. So it is all there in Atharva Veda. Is full of that. Even in Rig Veda, there are verses that that are in the nature of cursing and all that. So the Veda will give you everything. It is just blueprint. It is just knowledge. It has so many things. In the similarly also, the tradition that has evolved from the spiritual knowledge, it is just an encyclopedia of knowledge, of spiritual technology and spiritual wisdom, right? So we don't have to do everything. And nowadays, especially, we have this information revolution. You have so much of information accessible. A click of a button, you will get the entire Rig Veda Samhita, Yajurveda Samhita, everything you will get. Mantra Mahodadi, you can get it in online in archives. Access to all the mantras, everything is available in a click. Now, and there are gurus selling it. There are gurus who are selling special tantric initiations for a fee. Whether you are qualified or not, they don't look. You can just register online and go through a training. Now, information is available. But the beauty is the life will not let you do anything. The life is so distracting that even after learning, the individual may not be able to sit and do and get the mantra siddhi and get the perfection out of it. So there is no point of all the information being available still. So the main point I'm trying to tell here is there are so many options available, and we don't have to do everything. Kamye matjatam, giving up my attitude for using spiritual tech to influence my everyday life and situations. Getting things done, magic. Don't do magic. That's what it means. Magic for getting things done. Kamye madhichachadam, desire driven karma. So
योगेश्वर जी।
yes, I am audible now. Can somebody tell me at what point it got muted? Kamye mathistyajyatam was there? Can someone tell me at what point it got muted? Because I was closing my eyes and talking. I did not notice. I'm sorry. So desire driven spiritual practice. Spiritual practices that are meant for actualizing your desires, give up that approach to spirituality. Totally give up. That's what Sri Shankaracharya says. And why? Because then the true transformation that we are looking at, which is transformation of the buddhi, will not happen. So kamye mati means desire driven attitude. Kamye mati, that attitude give up. you practices and everything that is available, that is advertised and popularized, we will have to very clearly understand what is obligatory, in the sense what I have committed myself to for the sake of chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi means purification of the mind, purification of the intellect, purification of the heart, developing inner harmony and sattvika buddhi. So whatever practices that I have committed myself to as a discipline for this purpose, that I can consider as obligatory, and which I am supposed to do every day, integrated with every aspect of my life, nitya karma and all that. And that sometimes there are some things that are purificatory. Like, for example, if I go into some space with negative energy, let us say I am some public relations executive, I will have to go and meet some clients in a bar. I cannot come home and simply sleep. Bar is an impure place, so I have to come home and take a shower and then only eat and sleep. I go to a barber shop and come out. I will have to take a shower before I eat or drink. Like this, we have certain things, rules to be followed at different times. So we have to take care of all that. Except this, we don't have to bother about all the innumerable spiritual practices and mantras that are going around that come into our attention. Similarly, there are so many divine forms. We don't have to worship all the divine forms, not required. For example, Chaturthi, sometimes I say in the class, today is Chaturthi, is good for Ganesha, and we chant some Ganesha. So it means if your Ishtadevata is Ganesha, if you are Ishtadevata or your main person, deity of worship is Ganesha, then you can use the Chaturthi as an occasion, the fourth phase of the growing or the decreasing moon. Decreasing moon would be Shankatahara Chaturthi, growing moon would be Vinayaka Chaturthi. So you can use that for an extra meditation and japa on Ganesha, extra adoration of the divine in the form of Ganesha. If it is Shashti or the sixth phase of the moon, you can use that time for an extra adoration of the divine form, that is Subramanya. Today, Pradosham, you can use it as an extra adoration of the divine form, of the divine in the form of Lord Shiva. So that's what it means. It does not mean in every tithi you have to propitiate this divine form. For my granny used to do, she will be sitting and doing japa for 3 hours, 4 hours, and she'll be chanting so many divine names and mantras and everything. It's like an obligation. So what happens is you get into some kind of a routine, and you think, if I do this, that God will not be satisfied. So I do for this God, that God, that God. It is not like that. It is the one divine that we are relating to through various forms. You don't have to relate through all the forms. No matter if you relate through one form, it is and another form, in both the forms, you're relating to the same person, same divinity. The simple analogy is, I want to have a chat with you, a text chat. I can chat with you through WhatsApp, or I can chat with you through Telegram, or I can chat with you through Facebook Messenger. Right? The interface I am using could be different, but I am actually chatting with you. In the same way, you are connecting to the Ishvara Tattva through Ganesha or Vishnu or Shiva or Subramanya or Devi or Surya or anything else. It is that same thing. It is not. That is the whole point of Panchayatana Puja. That is Sri Adi Shankaracharya instituted a method called Panchayatana Puja. And the goal of that is to give up the sense of difference between the various divine forms. And it is also there in the Veda. There is this idea is there in the Shruti itself, in the Veda itself. It is not some kind of a later, philosophical conceptualization where you are trying to resolve the differences. There is no difference. If we take the various, if we take Narayana Upanishad, it will say Shiva is Narayana, Brahma is Narayana, Indra is Narayana, everything is Narayana. If you take Ganesha Upanishad, it will say you are Brahma, you are Rudra, you are Vishnu, you are everything. If you take Shiva's some chanting for for Lord Shiva, there also you will say you are this, you are that, you are everything. If you take for Devi, there it will say Devi, you are this, you are that, you are everything. Right? Gopri, Govinda Rupini, you are in the form of Govinda, then you are in the form of Rama, when you are doing Samhara, you are the Rudra, like that is there in Lita Sahasranama. Right? So, if you look at our body of knowledge, it says everywhere there is no Veda or difference between the various divine forms. It is the one divine that is in all the forms. So we are not a polytheistic, this is not a polytheistic religion. That's a wrong idea. It's very different from what we hear from the Greek gods and all that. No? When they talk about polytheistic religious traditions like the Norse religions, the Greek religions, and anything else, they say there are different gods. So here, this is not different gods. There are different manifestation of the same God. It's very different. The whole concept is different, right? So it is something that we need to understand and not get worked up about and anxious about which divinity to do what. So this problem I found in many sadhakas, but don't worry about it. Wherever, today, if I want to sit and meditate, whichever divine form I am having a natural inclination towards, I am able to channelize my emotion towards. It has to be a combination of emotion, vibration, and intention. And to some extent, the qualities and the details around me, if it is matching, it will be easy. Harmony. That's what vibration is about. So emotion and vibration both must be agreeable for this divinity. They must come together. I must be able to bring myself together in all my levels of functioning and orient myself towards that divinity. That is the key factor that I have to use for determining what divine form I should choose for meditating today. And also, it doesn't have to be the same thing all your life. Usually, it is recommended to have one Ishtadevata, one divine form for the entire life, or at least for a certain considerable period of time, in order to develop what is called one pointedness or ekagrata. But one doesn't have to make it a big deal. Like, for example, the Vaishnavas take it to a little extreme. The Iyengars, the Vaishnavas, they do they take some vow with a guru that I will not worship any other deity other than Narayana. There's some vows. They put some heated seal, like a tattoo, on the right and left shoulders. Bharanyasam, they call it. And then, if there is a Shiva temple and a Vishnu temple next to each other, this Vaishnava who is walking around, you will take care he doesn't step inside the Shiva temple. He will go around the Vishnu temple. And then there are these in Karnataka, I have heard about Veera Shaivas. They used to wear this is really funny. They used to wear some kind of a ear ring in the form of a bell, it seems. I heard about this. And if somebody says Vishnu's name, they will shake their head so that this bell will ring and the Vishnu's name will not fall in their ears. So we have these kind of extreme jokers in history, and also, so because humans tend to over dramatize everything, so we don't have to go do things like that. This kind of attitude is not healthy. So ekagrata, the idea is, if you keep on invoking the same divine form, the same mantra in the same time of the day and for a considerable amount of time, and then you develop the qualities that help you to sustain that specific vibration type and the quality, the gunas, the quality combination that is conducive for resonating with that devata, to develop that in you, in your personality, in your lifestyle, in your atmosphere. And all that comes together, the meditation, the one pointedness in meditation becomes better. The ability to become aware and connect to the divine on a deeper level of attention becomes easier. So all our peripheral faculties will align. It's like, for example, it is like studying in a silent room. I don't have any other noise. I have a good attitude. I ate light. I did not eat too much. Also, I maintain a certain level of the body, a certain atmosphere, bright light, and things like that. That allows me to study. Right? I don't lounge. I try to sit straight. It allows me to study. So similarly, if I want to invoke and feel the presence through the Vishnu form, there are some things that help. The sandalwood paste helps. Yellow clothing helps. Tulsi mala helps, and these kind of things. Doing archana with tulsi helps. Some herbs they help, like tulsi for Vishnu, bilva for Lord Shiva, durva grass for Ganesha, like that. You have. So when you use a mala, you use a lotus bead mala for Lakshmi. Like that, we have certain rudraksha for others. So we have certain things. It helps you in resonance. But these are all very mild factors. These are minor factors. You don't have to get too fanatical about it. These are just helpful factors. They set the mood. They set the atmosphere. It helps you to vibe with that divinity better. So that is the whole point about it. It is not, when they say this is very pleasing for this divine form. They say this is pleasing for Ganesha, this is pleasing for Shiva, this is pleasing for Vishnu. And they say it doesn't mean that that God feels happy that you offered. It's not like that. The divine is beyond likes and dislikes. It means it helps you to tune to that divine form in a better way. That's all it means, right? So I can choose any one divine form. I am not obliged to focus on everything. Generally, we have a rule, we pray to Ganesha and we start to remove all the obstacles. There is a traditional method. If you are used to that already, you can always do a small Ganesha invocation and then go to the main practice. If you are not used to that, don't worry about it. If you are new to this tradition, you can straight away start with the deity. You don't have to worry about Ganesha. No, Ganesha is not waiting and getting jealous that you did not take care of him. The Ganesha aspect is taken care by your own deity itself. So as we go in the path towards self-purification as the only goal for our spiritual practices, the set of rules and the approach is very, very different. The moment you have given up kamya karma, desire-driven spiritual practices, worldly desire, spiritual materialism, once you have given that up, and your approach is only purification of the heart, purification of the mind, and freedom from karma and klesha, the approach is based on yoga and towards Vedanta. The set of rules are very, very different. You don't, all the various little details that the normal common folk or spiritual materialistic folk are obsessed about, you can ignore all of that conveniently. Previously, also in a lecture, I said, you have a sanction to rise above religious commitment when you are desirous of spiritual liberation. You have a license to rise above religious. You don't have to bug your head with all your religious commitments, beyond a certain point. And you can just, you can take the license and enter full-time spirituality. You are not obliged for the routine religious life. I took that license and I told you that taking I was also coming from quoting and extending the meaning of Sarvadharman Parityaja and all that. Few lectures back, sessions back, we had that discussion. You can go back and visit that. It's there in YouTube. Right? So once our approach becomes spiritual freedom, inner purity, developing devotion, bhakti, and toward jnana, the rules are very different. We are not obliged to, we don't have to bother about all these things that people say, especially when so much of spiritual market is active. Ask that channel, this channel, that channel, Sanskar TV, all these TVs. There are a lot of discourses going on. Each Mahatma wants to have his own crowd and his own reach. So we have to stick to moksha related discourses alone. We have to stick to yoga related discourses. Moksha Sastran Patanam Va. When it comes to Swadhyaya, what is Swadhyaya? Pranavadi Pavitranam Japo Moksha Shastran Patanam Va. That is the commentary. chanting of the pure mantras and studying the moksha shastra. That is what is Swadhyaya, according to Vyasa's commentary on Yoga Sutra. So we don't have to go into all the religious discourses that are more focused on rituals and that are more focused on, making you do 100 different things. And there are groups that market their own practice as the most important one, the best one. So when somebody, suppose, let us say, somebody is very deeply rooted in a certain practice, a certain mantra and a deity related practice. Okay. So they have done, so that is the tapo balam. They have that power of austerity with them. So when they speak something, those words have a very high level of influence on our mind. A very austere person who is deeply rooted in a certain kind of spiritual practice and the mantra and the worship method talks about it and gives a discourse, and we listen to them in a context where there is a crowd full of people who are following that. Or somebody who visits that and then comes to our house and visits us and talks to us about it in a very lot of enthusiasm, we will tend to get influenced because the energy is very high. It takes over our mind, and then we can feel obliged because these supernatural spiritual things generally inspire fear in people. Oh, if I don't do that, maybe gods will get angry with me, or maybe it's a mistake, it's an error, and I will incur some sin. These kind of fears I have seen in many people. You don't have to worry about all. It is natural to feel like following something when we hear from a certain discourse from a certain powerful and very influential Mahatma or something. That doesn't mean we will have to do that. Yeah, because you feel in a certain way doesn't mean you will have to do that. Because that Mahatma said for a general crowd, that doesn't mean it applies to you. We take it in, we process, and we have to discuss with our own teacher and think for ourselves, sleep over it, compare with what we are doing, and let that high. Once we listen to that, we get a certain high about it. Let that high subside, and you become normal, and then you think about it without excitement. After the excitement subsides, we calmly think about it, analyze it, and then compare with what we are doing, what else we have to do, and then we come at a conclusion whether we should take it up or whether it is relevant for us or not, and to what extent we must get involved in that. All that we conclude later. So no god is waiting for you to worship him or her, right? All forms of worship is for our own sake, and it's for our own development. And there are so many options out there because so many types of people's needs have to be addressed, so many types of minds have to be taken care. So we have so many types. So one person is not obliged to go and do everything. Never approach it from fear and desire. When I say desire driven, also let it not be fear driven. Fear driven is not bad. We have the four types of devotees where Arti is the one who wants to get out of trouble. Arti, Artharti, Jignasu, right? Mumukshu. All we have different kinds of devotees for the Lord and the Jnani. So art the person, it's like Gajendra was shouting, for Lord Narayana to come and save him from the crocodile. That is Arti. I am in trouble. Go Lord. There is a turbulence when I am in the flight. They chant Hanuman Chalisa. That is Arti. There is nothing wrong. But let that not be the main approach for my everyday sadhana. That's what I'm saying. In a fearful situation, you invoke divine is wonderful, but fear should not be the main motivation for my everyday sadhana. Desire is not the motivation for my everyday sadhana. That is what I'm trying to say. And also unnecessary guilt from fake values and wrong popular propaganda. All that can be taken care when I commit myself to proper study of the commentaries of the main scriptures. That will give me clarity. So with all this, I hope our sadhana will stay on perspective. uh, Now, if you have any questions, you may ask on this subject, or if anything else is brewing in your mind, you are waiting to ask, you can ask. There is a question here. what would you say regarding the emotional connection to divinities? I have no connection of none of them, okay, because of my unfamiliarity with Hindu culture. Wonderful. Should this be fabricated somehow in the future? Excellent question. Or does this happen spontaneously, or doesn't need to happen? It is absolutely okay because you have unfamiliarity, you will have no emotional connection. That is natural, and that needs to be respected. Should this be fabricated somehow in the future? I will not say should be fabricated. You could experiment a little bit, visiting some divine places and exposing yourself to a few vibrations and see how you feel, what happens. Just to check if I have any past samskara. No, if I have some past life samskara that helps me to that I have already cultivated in a past life. If that clicks in this life, in a certain situation, in a certain moment, then it gives a great momentum for concentration. That's all. But it is not mandatory at all. Usually it happens spontaneously when you are associated with the teaching, when you are associated with everyday practice, whatever practice you are doing, self-discipline, lifestyle, exposure to satsanga and all that. This is called swadhyaya, right? Study, satsanga, and practice is swadhyaya. So what Patanjali Yoga Sutra says is swadhyaya pratishtayam ishtadevata samprayogaha. Being established in swadhyaya, life will bring you to that divine form, that to your favorite divinity, the divinity that is most suitable for you. You will be brought in front of its presence somehow. That is by grace. So we can say it happens spontaneously. It's not wrong to say that it happens spontaneously, but then it is nothing wrong for me to experiment. Do you have to experiment? No, you don't have to experiment. Is it? It does it need to happen, or it just doesn't need to happen? Yes, it doesn't need to happen. Worship of a divinity is not mandatory. It is not essential. It is helpful. That is where the beautiful honesty of this Sanatana culture comes. Our Vedic traditions, this wonderful quality, that absolute brutal honesty about what is the level of relevance of each practice. In Panchadashi, there is a text called Panchadashi, a Prakarana text. Panchadashi by one of the Shankaracharyas. In that Panchadashi text, he says, meditation on divinity is useful illusion. Can you believe? That is the word used. It is a useful imagination. It is imagination. He calls it as useful imagination. Though it's not so simple, from the context of Advaita, we present like that. It is a little more than that, but from a higher perspective, you can call it as useful imagination. But I'm just telling this as an example for the brutal honesty we have. It is absolutely not essential to worship any divinity. Not essential. It is helpful. You may or you may not. There are so many methods of uh, dissolving the fake ego. It can be done directly in knowledge with pure understanding. In Ramana Maharshi's what do you call as the Upadesha Saram, he says, எண்ணூறு யாவும் இறையுருவாமென எண்ணி இருத்தலது உந்தி பெற ஈசனது பூசனை உந்தி பெற. It has two meanings. One, whatever form that you are thinking about, whatever form you come across, you encounter, anything that you see, basically, all that are forms of the divine alone. To think like that is worship of the divine. Also, this world, this universe of the eight forms, the four directions, the sun, moon, stars, it's called Ashtamurtam, right? So this and the space, the five elements, this universe made of the five elements and the sun, moon, and stars, is the four directions and the five elements, and what we experience, this phenomenal universe itself is the form of the Lord, form of the divine. So this universe that we experience itself is the supreme divine, is Ishvara. So everything here is Ishvara. So to meditate and contemplate like that itself is worship of the divine. That's what Sri Ramana Maharshi says. And that's what and he is not, it is not his own saying, that is what the tradition is saying. And if you see in Upanishads, there are various vidyas, in the various contemplation methods in the Upasana portions. There are many contemplation methods where divinities are not involved at all. It is just Om, it is just the divine, the various fires. Then meditating, even there is a meditation, even on meditation on the sexual pleasure as a manifestation of the self. There is one meditation. So there is nothing around us which is not divine. And it is not essential to tune to any divine form. One need not force oneself if it doesn't come by itself. So the some tendency has to be, and then we can experiment a little bit and see. And one doesn't have to keep on experimenting all life. Maybe you can go on a tour and check it out, see if something happens. It doesn't matter. It doesn't happen, doesn't matter. Don't need to force yourself. There are so many methods available where divinities, worship of divinity or divine form is not involved. Yeah. I hope that answers your question. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tatsate. I'm sorry I missed a question here. We will continue that question in the next class. Please save it. Introducing to basic discipline and introducing to moksha, or to know the truth of the real self. The learning from basic discipline to ultimate truth. How to find the difference between one's delusion and one's clarity. Very good question. It is done by satsanga and study. Swadhyaya what clarifies it. Is it possible to get confusion if one is studying this, accepting the power of ego? There is no accepting the power of ego. Not ignoring the power of ego. That question does not arise, because the whole study starts with Shraddha. That is the job of the teacher. When the teacher points out, you are supposed to listen to that and think about it. That's what the whole process is about. We will discuss this part in a more elaborate manner in the next class. Okay. Thank you. Remind me.